We're on. Guys, group call again. Thanks for your time on a Sunday. Really appreciate it. Today we're talking all things race week. Big Kados has got his race coming up in New Zealand. So we're just going to talk through everything that we want to do before race week, things we want to prep, what taper looks like, carb loading, all that. We're going to try and dissect it all so that hopefully we get some clear clarity leading into race week. Now, if you haven't, obviously a lot of us aren't racing this week, but take some notes. I have created a bit of a run sheet from today, like a cheat sheet thing that I'll share with everyone after, and I might add some things as we talk about it. But if you're sitting on your other end and you've got a race coming up, jot some things down, and then you'll have it for when your race day. You're not thinking, oh shit, what did we say? And going back and finding this recording and everything. So let's dive in. First of all, I want it to be sort of like a Q&A, this one as well. Like, there's going to be lots of questions, I'm sure. But do we have anything straight off the block that anyone wants to start with that we can ask and start dissecting?
I'd love to dive deeper into carb loading, but I don't know if that's a bigger topic or not.
Yep. So we'll touch on that today. And I'd actually just said to Daniel, Daniel's made a YouTube video that sort of explains his strategy with carb loading. And I've done it twice now and I absolutely love it. So we're definitely going to cover carb loading. We might even do another full call on it because I think there's lots of info there. But we'll touch on it today, see how much we get through. But yeah, maybe we won't start there. Is there anything else?
Yeah.
Is there anything else that, Cade, surely you've got a couple of things that you're wondering and you're starting out race week?
Honestly, no, mate. I've hit the point of acceptance. I'm everything in my mind is sold. I feel like I am maybe concerned that come race day, I don't want to get the burps. Like when I remember when I was still learning about how many grams of carbs to take, the burps in the run fucking destroyed me. Like I couldn't go. Like I felt like I was gonna throw up. So, but I know we're bringing it down and everything, so I'm not too worried. But that's probably the big thing.
Okay. Cool. We'll get to a little bit about fueling and stuff like that as well. What have you gone through the New Zealand athlete guide and stuff like that? Do you know when check-ins are and everything?
Yeah, mate. I'll be so for real. I've been reading that thing over every 2 times a day flat. I've planned the day I arrive and everything to a T. I've planned wake up time. I've already started adjusting the sleep schedule, so I'm up early. I've checked what they've got on the days before, what I need. They have their own checklist. I'm making sure that I have everything I need here and more in case something goes wrong. And I'm trying to just
Sorry, how early are you getting in? And is there, and maybe we can talk about this after you say, but what do you think is an ideal situation, ideal amount of time to get in before the race?
I do think it depends on where you go. New Zealand's I think we talked about last time, it's only a 3-hour jet lag. But if I'm going to Marbella or somewhere way far, personally I know myself really well and I know I need time to adapt, especially with sleep. I can't land on one night and then race the next night. I do think maybe some people are very different. But for me, I need a day or two just to settle down, go check out the race course, do a shakeout or do the swim. I need time to just settle my mind and get into a frame where it's just a matter of execution. I would assume the further you go, the way much further hotter it is.
Yeah, I think it's everyone else can give their input here, but I think a 3-day is ideal, 3-day minimum, depending on where you're going. And then if I'm going to say Marbella, it's going to be an 8-hour time difference, right? I personally would like to do at least a day per hour to let my body adjust. So if it's 8-hour difference, I get in there 8 days before. It's just a sort of general rule that I use for myself. Obviously, if I'm going to New Zealand or Kona, it's probably not going to be as far, but Kona's a different one because it'll be heat and I probably want to adapt to it. But yeah, so everything's different, but I think absolute minimum is 3 days. If you can get there, sort of race on Sunday, you get in Thursday. I think that's perfect. Let your body adjust to the environment and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, I do think like jet lag, like the 1 day for every hour is super clever. I also think it depends who you go with. Like if I was going solo, 3 days would be no problem. But like if I went for let's say longer and I'm going with my partner, my partner's not racing, so she thinks it's gonna be holiday mode, which is fair on her. 'Cause, I mean, she plans on doing holiday stuff, but I think it's also dependent. Like if you go too much, like you get lax and you get lazy and like you're not there. I just like it's all about momentum for me.
yeah.
Like I need to keep moving, otherwise it's
Good. I think it's definitely a sweet spot. Kados, I can see. Sorry, not Kados. Kanos. I can see you in the car, mate. Also wearing a pie jumper. We've got 2 Collingwood like nuffies. Three, yeah, well, 3 nuffies. Sorry. Do you have any questions before we get started on the rest of the stuff we got? Do you have any specific questions about like what you're thinking for race week?
Well, I mean, obviously it's gonna be my first crack at it, and I don't know much about the transition stage. Like I know you've got to lay everything out beforehand, so you got to get everything like laid out perfectly for the transitions. But like, there's certain things like when I get out, like the one transition that's going to get me is probably T1, like getting out of the water, getting the wetsuit off, and then getting all your gear on. Like, is there any tips for that?
So, great question, man. And the first thing I would say for people that are starting out in triathlons and doing transitions like this for the first time is the biggest thing you can do is overthink it, right? You know what you got to do. You got to transition from the water onto the bike. You know that you've got to get your wetsuit off and get everything going. Don't overthink it too much and relax as much as possible. When you're doing 70.3s, I think most 70.3s, you won't actually lay stuff out. Correct me if I'm wrong here, guys. I'm pretty sure you'll have a run bag anyway, and you'll hook it up in the tent. You'll go through, pick it up. You'll sit down, you get everything out, and then you go. So it'll be a little bit different to any.
Not at Geelong.
Yeah, I was
no,
going to say
Geelong we laid it
Geelong,
out. Yeah.
you lay it out. Yeah.
Apologies
It's
about
like
that.
a normal
Yeah.
for 70.3.
You are correct then, Kane. Sorry about that. I got that wrong. But yeah, regardless of what it is, if you're laying it out or whatnot, just don't overthink it. You're going to have plenty of time to go and check everything in beforehand, run through in your head. I like to take videos of the direction. So once I arrive and I'm putting everything down in transition, I'll record the direction of where I'm going. It's like a long video, but I'll just do the whole walk through. I'll look at my stuff, video everything so I know exactly where I've got everything. I can go home and review it and then walk out the exact same way and video it all, just so that when I get home and I'm not doing anything, I'm relaxing, I can just watch that video back, put it on 2 times speed, and it'll just show me the route. So when I'm in transition, right, and I'm going out of the water, I've already seen it in my mind what it looks like the route to go through the transition, right? So I'd recommend doing that as well, and then relax as much as possible. Okay. I had one other thing on that, but it slipped my mind. Doesn't matter. We'll come back to it. Does that help you out a little bit, Kane? Any other questions? Oh, I remembered it. I said to Cade this week when we went through a bit of his race plan, he asked me, he said, where should I have my gels at T1? And I don't know if anyone else does this. Maybe Daniel, you can chime in here, or Liam. I have my gels already in my tri-suit for my bike, already in there before the swim. I just carry them through the water, right? So it saves me having to collect them and put them in the tri-suit. My wetsuit's on. I take the wetsuit off, and my gels are already in the tri-suit, ready to go. They're all sealed up, so they're not getting liquid in there. And then I don't have to think about collecting nutrition in transition. I'm getting my wetsuit off, putting my shoes on, grab my bike and going, put the helmet on and going. So little tip for anyone. Daniel, what do you do? Do you do that?
So it depends on how much nutrition you've got. I know when I did my Geelong the first time, same thing. I had everything I needed on me, and it wasn't that much. There might have been, I can't remember exactly. There might have been 6 gels, so three in either pocket. That was fine. Then Ironman cans, I went to try and basically do the same thing, and I couldn't. I had like 18 or 20 gels or something. So then I had them out to the side. That did not work, and that's when I decided I'm switching to concentrated carb bottles. So now I'm concentrated carb bottles. I don't have that issue. The spares I have will be in my bento box. So I'm lucky that I've basically been able to get that down to a smaller margin.
Cool. Glad we clarified that. Most of my nutrition for the bike is in carb mix as well. It's just if you have, say, any gels that you're going to be riding with or that you're going to use on the ride, whether they might be caffeine gels or you're just doing something different, then they are already in my tri-suit. I definitely would use most of my nutrition on the bike from bike bottles still. Okay, so just clarify that. But yeah, good. Thanks, Daniel. Sweet. All right. Anything else there, Kane, or am I moving on?
No, I mean the only other thing, because I'm gonna buy one of, you said the nerd belts are really good. So I'm gonna get one of them so I can pack most of the like stuff for the run in that and then just clip it on and go. And then the only other question I had, right, is, and bear in mind this is me that falls off my bike all the time on a good day, what's the best way to do it with the shoes? Like, is it better to clip them into the pedals and then try and figure it out that way? Or is it better for me to, I'm like, I don't know the rule of like, if I can take it right to the line and then just whack my shoes on and jump on and go. Like, what do you reckon would be the best way to do that?
It's a great question. And it's a question that I have gone through my head multiple times when I started out. And I'm sure everyone does the same thing. What I would recommend for, especially for you and for people that have only done a few triathlons before, is put the shoes on whenever you're ready. So if they're laid out next to your bike, put your socks on, put your shoes, your cycling shoes on, put your helmet on, and then run in your cleats. All right, keep it simple. Run to the dismount to the mount line, get over the mount line, and then jump on and start pedaling. Now, I will get up to speed even if I can't manage to clip in straight away. I like to push even if they're not clipped in to get to speed. Then let them clipped in. But again, that's me. I would also recommend if you just want to jump on, clip in, and then go, that's also fine. But trying to, I don't tie them. I don't tie the shoes with lucky bands to keep it and then run barefooted and stuff. I just put the shoes on and run. Does everyone else do the same? Liam, Daniel, do you guys do the same?
I do the same at the
exact
moment.
same.
But
Yeah.
I'm about to switch. I'm practicing switching to a flying mount, but
I think
Well, go you.
it's super fun to practice that, and like as you progress, definitely I think it's worth trying. I'll probably might try and do it for Kona, but I'm a big believer in grabbing the lowest hanging fruit, and that is one that's just not going to gain you as much time as just relaxing in transition, thinking about less, and just getting through. So, Kano, for you, mate, chuck the shoes on, run, jump onto the bike once you get over the mountain line. Okay.
yep, 100% agree with that.
Sweet. All right. I want to do a little quick exercise where we roll through. Oh, hold on. I've lost yours. Can I not do that? Hold on. I've created a list of what to bring. This is on the cheat sheet that I'll send you after. And we're just going to roll through quickly about everything that we need to bring. Oh, hold on, guys. I need to get that onto the same screen so I can look at it while looking at yours. Here we go. All right. So, what do we need to bring? Just start firing them at me, and I'll see if I've missed any. Let's go.
Underwear.
Okay, I put obvious ones at the bottom of this run sheet.
Right.
Things like
just have to make sure.
clothes and everything like that. But what do we need? Let's just mainly focus about the race because, like, there's a lot of I know, for example, when I started doing this, that I would spend ages going through like everything that I need to bring. So I've created this little list so that I can send it to you guys, and I might have forgotten something, so we can add it to it now. But then let's just run through. I've got wetsuit, goggles, Vaso, and tri-suit to start us off.
Tire repair kits. You need a tube and like a CO2 canister, all that stuff.
100%. Definitely tire repair kits. I also, to add to that, is chain lube and degreaser. I always give my chain a clean before the race. So if you haven't got that yet, pack it just so you can give it a little clean and lube it up the night before. What else?
Are you not waxing your chain yet?
No, I'm not.
Oh, we'll have to talk about this later.
I've seen a video of a guy talking
We'll have to talk about this
how,
later. You need to wax your chain. It's so good.
I've heard very good things about it.
Something else for me to learn. All right, well, Daniel, do you want to take over this and maybe tell
Yeah,
us?
Wax chain's a whole other thing. We'll come back to it. It's so good. I can't believe I ever did anything else.
Can you wax an old chain, or do you have to buy a new chain?
It depends how old it is, but yeah, I've waxed old chains as well. So you just got to clean them and strip them better. So
you need like a special waxing machine or anything?
yeah, I've got a special waxing pot, and I think the initial investment up front, you're like, but now I never ever think about my chain anymore. You know, think,
Wow.
oh yeah, I've got to bring lube, I've got to do this. You never ever think about it until you're going, oh, actually, I haven't haven't degreased my chain or done anything to it for 1,000 Ks.
Oh, really?
Or it's slightly making some noise, and then you do 2 or 3 chains at a time. You just pull out your other chain that's already ready to go, clip it on, and you ride around it. It's game changing.
All right. And you can do it with any chain? There's no, or
Uh,
there's certain chains that you can do
so
it with?
whatever chain is on your bike, I'm not going to go. Actually, I know that you can't do them with ones like, the pretty ones where people heat treat them and they turn pink and all sorts of different colors. I haven't got one of those chains, obviously, but yeah, there's
Cade's sitting
basically
there.
if you just get a normal chain. Yes, you basically you strip the factory grease off it, and then you put it in the wax pot.
Okay. Something for me to get onto next. I've never done it before. I wouldn't know how to do it. I wouldn't know the benefits to doing it. Is it faster even? Like, is it meant to be make you faster, or is it just a convenience thing?
Makes you faster, makes the bike quieter, and it removes a layer of maintenance that you just don't have to think about it.
Okay. Well, until we
So
can
I like eliminating things. Yeah.
No,
It
I get
also
that.
stops like the build up of dirt and stuff, so your cassette and chain
Yeah.
rings don't wear out as well. No dirt sticks to it.
All right.
Okay,
Cool.
listen, according to Google, AI overview, you apparently save 3 to 8 watts compared to
It's a
traditional.
lot of watts, man. There's no way.
Yeah. That's why I'm going to be able to ride everyone down because I've got a wax chain. So
All right. Well, something for me to think about for next time. But until we've all got wax chains, take some degreaser, take some chain lube. Make sure you do it the night before, because that'll definitely help you anyway. But thanks for that little tip there, Daniel.
sorry for
right.
that rabbit hole. Sorry.
No,
Alex.
no, don't be sorry. I love that stuff, mate. All right. Obviously, bike, helmet, cycling shoes, spare tubes, CO2 cartridges, chain lube, degreaser, Allen keys. Don't forget to take some Allen keys. You never know what you're going to need to fix on your bike race day. Pump, and I would say a decent pump. Now, we'll talk about race morning soon, but please take a pump anyway. Make sure that you can pump your tires up to the pressure that you want. Heart rate monitor, cycling computer, race day shoes, race socks, race running belts, bib holder, sunglasses, hat, race day fuel. So metric fuel, obviously, everyone here. And then I like to bring like duct tape or electrical tape and zip ties as well. Anything that we've missed there that stands out that we need to bring, I'll send it to you after.
Just quickly, I've got a pump, right? But it doesn't have like the pressure gauge or anything on it. It is the most basic of all pumps. Is it worth me upgrading that pump when I get my repair kit?
Yep.
Bet.
Or unless you could also have a tire pressure gauge as well. If you've got a
Okay.
tire pressure gauge.
No.
I would
That's it.
get an all-in-one. I would get an all-in-one. It's just super simple. The other thing as well, Caden, it's not super important right now because what you can also do is when you get to Geelong, you can go to, there'll be like the Ironman Village and stuff. You can do it this time around, get it all pumped up to the right pressure and stuff like that. And a little trick that I do as well is when you check your bike or when you go to check your bike in the morning of race morning, there's like a million pumps there. Everyone brings their pump and they just check them there. So I just go over and borrow one just to check it as well. So if you don't have one yet, it's not the end of the world, but definitely for your own peace of mind in the future, get one so that you can just always know what your pressure's at.
I'll also say, according to the event guide, I don't know Geelong's event guide, they have a paid bike service. I don't know the price fees or whatever, but like last minute, if you just want to like an overview or like they even do like some shit to them, you probably go pay maybe a flat rate or I don't know, and they can do some work for you.
I also think I don't know, I'm pretty sure this though, that on race morning, if you take it, there's like normally a little bike mechanic in the transition area. If you go there and just say, this is what's going on the bike, and you just check it for me, they usually just help you. So yeah, I've done that before. I think it was at Cairns or maybe Port Mac. I had to go to the bike mechanic in the morning of. But please, 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 in the morning of race morning, check your tire pressure because at Busso, I nearly didn't do this. And then I was like, just do it. I'll never forgive myself if it's half flat. It was at 60 PSI, my front wheel. So please, in the morning of race morning, spend the 2 or 3 minutes to chuck a pump on it, wherever it is, and check your tire pressure, okay? Because it could cost you.
Trust me, after my first experience with triathlon, riding the first lap on a flat tire, I will definitely be checking the pressures.
Good man. All right. So that's the list. If you think of anything throughout this call, let me know. I'll add it over to it.
I will say, I don't know if you've already mentioned this, but when I did my triathlon in the Gold Coast, and they give you the swim caps. I don't know about the quality of the Ironman swim caps, but these ones were so small, like so small. And then the last 100 meters, it was falling off. I literally just took it off and I had it in my hand like a paddle almost because it just wouldn't stay on. So this time I plan on bringing the one I usually swim in, and I'll put that first, then my goggles, and then the other cap. So I'd say bring a spare cap as well.
Yep, nice. I think that's a good idea. I bloody hate swimming with caps anyway, to be honest with you. But
Fair enough.
Nice strategy getting it as a paddle as well, mate. Probably be
Yeah, it was, and I got straight out of the water, and I was already there, saving time.
I love that. Shane, you got any questions before we move on?
No, but I thought of something, chafing balm. I find that is super necessary.
Yeah, sweet. I use Vaso for everything, but if you've got a specific one, that's
a good option.
Yeah, I use Vaso for literally everything. The wetsuit, if I need to end on the run, I just use Vasos. But yeah, definitely chafing balm. It's a good one.
So I'm gonna bring one more thing up before we continue. There's so much time that we spend focused on the race day and leading up to the race day. We don't think much of the day after. Like bring paracetamol, like all the stuff, like all your comfiest clothes, like the shit that like you won't have to feel uncomfortable in. Just and just recovery.
I like it. Yeah, protein as well. Good stuff, Kate. We'll add that in. All right, moving on. Now let's talk about actual, like, we arrive in, let's sort of say with Kate, we arrive in New Zealand. We're there on the Thursday. Oh, it's actually Saturday race, so we're there on the Wednesday. Like, what do we now need to do? Like, what are we thinking about?
Yeah, guys, what would Kate do? What are we thinking
Nothing.
about? What was Kate thinking?
Eat food and sit on the couch.
Food. Fantastic. I've actually even got, before eat food, I've got go shopping. It's literally my first thing when I arrive at my event. Go to Woolies or Coles and I stock up everything for the carb load. If I need anything else for race day, like whatever it is, if I'm having bananas in the morning or whatever, like I go shopping and I've got a list and I just fill it out and I don't have to think about food for the rest of the next 3 or 4 days. So shopping is first and then start eating. Yes, very good. What else?
Second for me, I get the bike back together straight away. The first thing I want to do is get the bike back together, ride it, and know that it works.
Yep.
That's key for me.
Agreed.
Probably cross the fingers and pray that nothing went wrong as well.
Yeah.
Put the bike together. I actually haven't got that one here, so I'm going to put that in there. Put bike back together. Yeah. What about go through the race plan?
Scope the course out.
Yeah, scope the course out. Love that. Yeah. So
I think Josh and I are actually going to do that swim recon on the 6th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate, he told me his goal plan for his swim pace that he's going to try and stick at. Bro,
he's a fish. Yeah.
Fuck, he wants to set at 122 for the whole thing. Or like 120. Like,
he's a fish, Josh.
Yeah, amphibian at its finest.
Yeah, so scope the course out. I mean, you're going to have like a couple of days, so go and ride the course, go and run a little bit of the course. Definitely do the swim course. I love doing that the day before the race. And then just keep going through the race plan that you've got. Like, you should know in and out, like the back of your hand, how you plan to execute. Now, race day is not going to always happen like that, so you may have to adjust on race day and be prepared for that. But if you know what you're going to be doing, every half an hour I'm going to fuel, or at this point I'm going to be trying to push this many watts. Have it in the head, run through it again and again and again, so that you just know what you're doing, and it just builds so much clarity, and then you just less to think about come race day. And if anything does deviate from the plan, you're like, okay, well, it's all right. I know roughly where I've got to get back to, and you go from there. Okay, so go through the race plan is a big one. And then you've got like the basic stuff. Oh yeah, Finny, please. Yep.
I have a question. I've seen some of the pros, they like to download the bike course on their Garmin. Do you think that's necessary?
That's a great question, man. And that depends on the course, I think. If you're doing Busso, like, not really. Like, it's just a flat track, and you're just going sort of up, out and back, and you don't really need to think about it. But if I was doing Marbella, I downloaded the Marbella course because it was hilly. I wanted to see exactly what the climbs were like, and then I wanted to drive and see where the climbs were. So I guess it depends on the course, but there's no harm in doing it, definitely, especially if you're unsure about the course at all. Like, I don't know if Cade's ever been to New Zealand or he's been to Taupo, but if he hasn't, I'd highly recommend that he downloads the course, and you can dissect exactly where on the course the hills are. You can break it down into climbs and stuff. So yeah, that's a personal choice thing. For Cairns, I would, mate. Yeah, definitely.
Can I add something to that? With Cairns, when I went up there, I think and we'll get back to how soon you get there. I went up there fairly early, and I pre-drove that course because you can't ride a lot of the sections or the important ones. I drove that course, must have been 2, 3, 4 times over the space of sort of five days, just to get that through my head. I had it downloaded onto my Garmin and was basically tracking as I was going, just seeing how it would look and those general sort of things. So I didn't actually have the course loaded on for race day, but I used it before race day.
Yep, like
Yep.
it. Kane?
Probably one other thing on that with the whole computer is the lesson that you taught us when you were in Spain is take your bike computer off your bike at T2 so that no one nicks it.
Absolutely. This is
I
something
literally think about that all the time now. Every triathlon I've done since, I think about that.
yeah, kills me. But on a more positive note, I've landed a pretty good deal with Garmin. So
Yay!
literally found out on Friday, and I was so excited, guys. So that was a little win that I just wanted to share with you. Yeah, we've got
Congratulations.
Yeah, good. Congratulations. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm pumped for that. It's gonna be good. All right, moving on. So then we've got like things like athlete check-in. I like to do that as soon as I've got time. Like you build your bike, you go shopping and stuff, and then once you're settled, you head into the Ironman Village and do your athlete check-in, get all your stickers and stuff. Put them all onto my bike straight away, so it's all ready, helmet, everything like that. And then you got to check your run and bike stuff in, and then your bike. Now, everyone, I'm keen to hear other stories on what you do. I like to do like all of this the day before the race, and I like to check my bike in as late as possible. I don't want to leave my bike there for 2 days, whatever. So I like to do that as late as possible. And if there is a split transition, which there is in Cairns, you need to arrange bike transportation before it. So something that May and I did, we rented a car and we were like, oh, great, I'll just be able to drive it up there, to Palm Beach a couple of days, like the day before or whatever. But then I arrived and I hadn't planned well enough and my car was too small. And I was like, fuck, how the hell am I going to get my bike up there? I didn't want to ride. Like I wanted to be off my legs, tapering and relaxing. So that was a headache. We ended up managing to fit it in eventually, but you need to plan things like if it is a split transition. So Finney, you'll be thinking about this. Liam, you're doing Cairns as well. So think about these things beforehand. How am I going to get my bike to there on the Saturday? There's going to be heaps of people doing it. There's going to be like traffic and things like that. Just plan and prep all of that beforehand. Read the athlete guides. But yeah, for me, I like to do that as sort of late as possible on the day before.
Possibly a stupid question, but what is a split transition? What do you mean?
So it's where you come out of the water and then you do T1 and then you do the bike course and then the bike course finishes not where T1 is, right? So it's in a different, the transitions are in different locations. So you can't, I think, like for example, Busso, everything's just in the one spot. It's really easy. You take your bags, you take your bike, it's all there. You finish the swim, you finish the bike there, everything. But with Cairns, it's split. So you've got to think more and then you've got to, plan all that. It's a bit more tricky.
And in Cairns, even more so, it's like it's half an hour by car between the two different transitions.
Okay, right. So, it is a headache, Cairns. I ended up as well, and this is totally up to you guys. I booked accommodation in Cairns, and then I also booked one night accommodation in Palm Beach, and May checked out while I was racing, just so we didn't have to travel in the morning because it's just there's so many people doing it, and then you got to drive, you got to get up earlier. So if you can stretch the funds and you can get a accommodation in Palm Beach as well for that one night, I would recommend doing that.
I've done that for this year. That was the number one thing I had down on my pre-race. And then I'm like, get accommodation in Palm Cove.
It made it so much easier. It was quite expensive, but it just, you're already spending stupid amounts on this sport. You may as well just make your life easy. Cool. Another big thing that you just have to do, and it will kill you if you don't, is charge your bloody devices, guys. Everything. Have a list of everything that you need charged. I'm talking watches, cycling computers, power pedals, and fucking Di2. Do not leave your bike uncharged, because if you are stuck without gears, it's going to ruin your race. All right. Charge everything. Just start charging it from the moment you get there. Just bang everything. All right. Just keep it charged. Cool. And then something I've also got here, I'm sorry if I'm just feel like I'm talking a lot, is shave. Cade's an expert at shaving, as we saw in the group chat photo that we're on the athletes chat. I don't think Shane and Daniel, you're in that group chat, but yeah, shaving is a big one. I shave every race. It saves, like, similar to what we're talking about in saving watts. I've looked into it a little bit, and it is saving watts, and it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. So I would recommend shaving legs. I shave my arms, everything. Shane, I imagine that you've already got most of that down pat with the legs. I don't know. But yeah, if you've got time and you're comfortable shaving, I would recommend shaving. And then, of course, a very important one that I hope Kate is thinking about this week is plan your finish line celebration. All right, guys? That is a big one. I spent a long time planning the whiteboard for Busso, so make sure that you got something cool and epic to get the finish line shot with, all right?
That was iconic. I loved that. It made me cry, actually. I loved it. It was awesome.
Actually, Shane, I don't think you're going to enjoy this story.
What?
There's 3 people here that won't. Do you know how I got that idea?
Oh.
In 2018, when the Eagles won the flag against the Pies, in the change rooms, they had 3 things written down. It said friends, tick, family, tick, and flags, tick. So I was just like, I'm going to recreate this.
Oh, I don't like it now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I absolutely hate it. I hate it. I'm deleting it from Instagram. It's finished.
I love it. So good. Sorry, guys. But yeah, it was iconic. I'm glad I got that celebration. Right. What's next? Any questions so far? Moving on. How we going? Good.
I say parking. Parking is a pretty big one. Yeah, I haven't had that many parking incidents, except I did a half marathon, and I literally, I got there, and there was about 15 seconds before the bell went off before I got into the queue. So, scope the area out, look on Google Maps if there's any parking places, and honestly, if you have to pay $10 for a day, just do it. It's not worth the pressure or the stress. You just want to make everything so smooth.
Convenience is key, especially when you've got so much to think about come race morning. Just cop it, whatever it is, and just keep your life super easy. I'd highly recommend that. Daniel and I have even gone above and beyond and booking 2 accommodations near the race start, so we don't have to think about that. But yeah, convenience is king, definitely.
If you have to drive there, what I did for Melbourne 70.3 is booked an Uber the night before. So you can pre-order an Uber. So it's just as soon as you're ready, they're there at 4:30 or whatever, whenever. Which is perfect.
I like that. And as well, because you have to go in the morning to do your final bike check-ins and add your helmet, get a family member to drop you off, and then they go and sort parking out. You can do all your final bike checks, and then you can walk over to the start and they'll meet you there. So utilize your team and make your life as easy as possible on race morning, all right? Sweet. We're not too far off. I'm excited to get to carb loading in a minute. But before that, sort of want to just quickly talk about, why is this like this? Sorry, guys. I don't know why this is doing this. There we go. Taper. So what does taper look like? What's the sort of simple question? Why do we taper?
Fresh legs, remove fatigue.
Yeah. That's the main thing, is dropping the fatigue levels. Staying sharp is a big one, though. When I went to little story, when I went to Nice to watch the Ironman World Champs last year, I had just done Cairns not too long ago, and my taper at Cairns was literally do nothing, essentially. I would do a very small run where I'd get out and just really cruise, but I just assumed that the best way to drop fatigue is to do very little, right, or nothing. And that I kind of went in a little bit of holiday mode, and I struggled, obviously, at Cairns. When I went to Nice to watch the Ironman World Champs, I literally saw Christian Blumenfeld, Sam Laidlow. I saw them all out on the Esplanade doing these interval sessions. We're talking 2 days out. Now, I know they're pros, and it's a little bit just different for us age groupers and stuff. But it made me realize, I was like, maybe intensity isn't the worst thing. Obviously, controlled intensity. in race week. It keeps you sharp. So when I started tapering for Busso and for Marbella, I still kept in a little bit of intensity where I was getting the speed in the legs still, but really low volume and nothing like above threshold. We're not talking like hammering these massive intervals, but definitely keeping your body sharp, especially like 2-3 days out. I think that's okay. I'd love to know Daniel's thought of this because we haven't spoken about this and maybe he's got a different view, but that's just what I've done. At both times at Marbella and Busso, it's really worked. I've got to the race morning and I felt fresh and legs felt like they were ready to run. So what do you think, Daniel? What do you do?
So tapering, similar. I think it's really individual as well. A taper that works for me doesn't necessarily work for you. And we're still trying to work out my taper as well. I know when I did Geelong the first time, because my main race around that was Cairns, my taper was really limited. And I got to that race and felt amazing. And like I'd done like a big 6-hour ride the weekend beforehand and still kept intensity, but just reduced volume slightly. And I had a great day at Geelong. Then Cairns, we did a full 2-week taper. Didn't feel as good as I would have liked to on race day. Sunshine Coast, 2-week taper. Didn't feel as good as I would have liked to have. And we plan to stick with that one more time into Melbourne, but unfortunately didn't get to test that. But if Geelong doesn't go the way I want it to, I probably won't do a 2-week taper again. So we're going to do a 2-week taper again, which is where this time we're not taking as much volume out. We're going to leave some in.
Yeah.
And it's about like the intensity sessions, like my VO2 sessions that might be, say, 3 sets of 10 40-40s or something. Instead, what we'll do is we'll go 2 sets of 10 40-40s or something like that. So you still have that intensity, but that reduces and the overall volume reduces as well.
Yeah, definitely it all comes down. I think 2 weeks for myself anyway, for a full taper is too long, especially for a 70.3. I think that like 9-10 days maybe is perfect, but I would still be doing like a decent ride the weekend before my race. Nothing crazy. We're not talking going doing the race distance at like race pace and stuff, but maybe 75% of the distance with 50% of that at race pace sort of thing. I would still go and do that. Now, again, that's me, and that's what I'll recommend to my athletes. But everyone is different, and that is very true for what Daniel said, is you need to listen to your body, and if fatigue levels are still high and you can just feel your RPE every session is really tough, bring it back down until that shifts. A generic rule for myself is the day before we are like off legs. We go and do the swim course, but we're just completely off, and we go and eat lots and we enjoy time with family. We get excited. We do our final checks and stuff. But for me, I wouldn't go and do a ride or a run the day before at all. I'd just completely off legs. So that's a general rule that I have. And I also like to do my bike with enough time so that I can do any final checks and then check it in the day before. And then obviously maybe a very small 10-minute run the day before, 2 days before, sorry. Cool. That's taper. Love it. Any questions before we move on to carb loading? No, I love it. All right. Sweet. So carb loading. Oh, Daniel, can you kick us off here, mate? Just tell me, because I learned how to carb load properly from this man, and I'd love to hear from you first. Like, why do we carb load? What are we doing? What's the goal?
Well, basically, we're trying to make sure that come race day, our fuel tank is full. So we want to have our full glycogen stores in both our muscle glycogen and our liver glycogen full, which means that the time leading into the race, normally the last 24 hours is the most important. I've tried experimenting with a 30 to 36 hour carb load just as recently as Friday, and I don't like it. I prefer the 24-hour carb load. So It comes down to that. I know some people talk about crazy 72-hour carb loads. You just don't need it. It's too much. Once the tank is full, it is full.
I agree. I do agree. I do like to, I'll let you keep talking here, but I like to front load 2 days out. So have more 2 days out and then a little bit less the day before. But as you said, man, 72 hours, 3 days is just too much. And by halfway through the second day, you should be over it. Like you should be sick of it. And then you get through it and then you wake up on race morning. But yeah, I know, Daniel, you have this sort of a measurement of lean body weight. Is that correct? You would go off sort of 10 to 12 grams of carbs per kilo of lean body weight. I'm going to simplify. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I'm targeting. So my max, or the max to go to is 12 grams per lean body mass, but I got a DEXA scan to find that out exactly.
Right. And that's why I'm going to try and simplify this a little bit for everyone. So
Yeah.
what I did was I went onto Google and found images of what a typical body would look like at different percentages, and that's how I worked out sort of my lean body mass. But it's going to be an estimate anyway. So what I would do now, and what I'd recommend that you guys do, especially if it's like your first carb load, is just go off like sort of 9 to 10 grams of carbs per kilo of body weight, right? That's going to be roughly close to what you need, and then for the second day, I would do a little bit less than that, so 8 to 9 grams of carbs per kilo of body weight. So my carb load and Finn's carb load and Cade's carb load are going to look very different in the amounts, right? Cade's a big boy, Finn's quite light. So Finn won't be able to eat anywhere near, well, shouldn't eat as much as what Cade's going to have for the carb load, right? Now, again, I'm going to give you all this run sheet, and for anyone that's working closely with me, we'll go through this in your race plans. But the other thing as well is limit fiber. Well, I won't even say limit, just no fiber for the 2 days leading in. All right. You really don't want to have any fiber in your carb load. That is going to make digestion and your gut hate you on race day. Okay. I've got a Marbat. In fact, I might just try and share it here. Hold on. If I can maybe share my
Dan,
screen.
Yeah.
What happens if you does anything happen if you overindulge in carbs? So if you go past that limit, or is that not an issue?
Okay. I asked that same question to Tara, and she just says to me, once the fuel tank is full, it's full. Don't go over. So,
Can I
which
ask
doesn't
a
help someone
question?
like me who likes to go over. So a couple of times I'm like, oh, maybe I could just go a little bit extra. But he says don't go over, don't go over. So I just I don't go over it. And by 12 grams, like I'm eating like 900 grams of carbs. It's a lot. I'm pretty happy to not have to eat anymore by the time I get to the end of it.
That's my experience. Yeah. Shaden, what was your question?
I don't know. I think this might be a silly question, but would you carb load more if you were doing an Ironman as opposed to a 70.3, or is it still just the same? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
It's a great question. For me personally, I would carb load exactly the same. I would fill the tank up full, and then whether it's a 70.3 or an Ironman, you've got a full tank that you can start racing with.
All right, cool. Thank you.
I think the really important thing as well is you need to practice your carb load as well. It's not like, oh, I'm going to do this race day. What am I on 4 weeks? I've done 3 weeks of carb loads leading in and changed things slightly. So I'm always experimenting with different things to see how I feel. So that's why I did the 36-hour carb load after was one of my final big sessions, and I didn't like it. So I go back to my 24. And I sprinkled a couple other foods in there and didn't like them either. So they come straight back out.
That is my next question. And probably something that we all have is, what should we be trying to eat for carb loading? So like we heard the whole generic pasta era, carbs, pasta's full of carbs and we're just going to smash pasta the night before. That is not my experience. And I'm keen to hear from you guys what you think. And then we can just start to dissect and go from there what we should be having.
I do what Daniel says and go what is it that you say, the type 2 diabetes thing?
Not type 3 diabetes, type 3. We're trying to create type 3 diabetes.
Yeah.
Before we go there, Liam Mosley, I'm keen to hear what you did for Geelong last year, if you did anything.
I sort of just got Mum to go to the shops, grab anything she could see that was carbs, and I try to just consume everything. So I had pasta a lot. I had a big pasta meal. I was having cereal, a ton of cereal.
Yeah.
Bread, not too much though, but yeah, mainly cereal and pasta were like my main, and then bananas were my morning of. Lots of honey.
Yeah.
Basically just anything sugary. Oh, and lollies on the day before. I was just snacking on lollies the 2 days before as well. But for my actual meals, pasta and
So I was listening to you and I was hearing, I'm like, okay, they're all good. Like none of that's bad. You haven't got any of that wrong. But it's almost like all of that food is kind of like really heavy as well, right? Apart from the lollies, essentially, where I think lollies, like, and this is what we're going to talk about now, what Shaden's referring to with the trying to create type 3 diabetes in your carb load. Carbohydrates can come from lollies, from chips, chocolate, rice puddings, whatever it is. And trying to get this amount of carbs in is really challenging through foods like pasta and bread. It's really heavy, and you can only sort of eat so much of it. So what I did, and I hope we'll hear from Daniel and what he's recommends in a moment, but I would mix up everything. So my carb load, I would have a good chunk of it comes from complex carb, like the rices and things like that. But a massive chunk would also come from sports drinks, Coca-Cola, lollies, salt and vinegar chips. Like it really is like fueling for performance is very different to what fuel like eating healthily is, right? And I think that a lot of people will just sort of bypass that and go, "Oh, I've got a carb load. I'm going to have my, still healthy pasta and stuff like that." No, start fueling for performance. Just get in the carbohydrates in the best way that you can. Kane and Finn, there's a few questions coming out. Let's go.
The other thing, I don't know, I can't remember who said it, but someone said that a really good thing to do is have like a flat bottle of Coke with you as well, because you can just smack it back way quicker than like spicy Coke. But like get just like a flat Coke with you. Is that good?
So definitely on race day, like on the run at the race, a flat Coke's good. It'll hopefully avoid the burps, and it'll still give you the the caffeine hit, the sugar hit, everything. But even like convenience, the day before when you're doing a carb load, having the bubbles in the Coke's not really an issue. You'll just burp that out, and you'll just no dramas. But if you're running at the marathon or half marathon at the end of a race, they'll have flat Coke for you at the aid stations, and that's when you'd have it. Yeah, Finn.
I just want some clarity here. Like you're saying, you can also indulge in like either sides of the spectrum, but wouldn't indulging in heaps of like the Coke and all that spike your blood sugar, and then your tank would just drop? Compared to like if you just had like low GI carbs, and then your tank would maintain itself. Does that kind of make sense?
Daniel, please take it away, mate.
Yeah. So we're just trying to get as many carbs in as doesn't matter if it spikes up. We're trying to get that to spike up and then store in our blood. Sorry, in our muscles. So it's one of those ones that your body doesn't actually care where it's coming from. So we're just trying to get as much of it in as we can. And I mean, for you, because you're lighter and you have to eat less, you can actually probably. The hardest thing for me is getting the quantity of food in. If I was to eat pastas and breads and those sorts of things, I physically could not consume it. For you, you probably have to eat not quite, maybe I'm just guessing, maybe 600 or 700 grams of carbs. That's a lot more manageable via sort of normal foods. But like I'll sprinkle in like 6 cans of Coke, for example. Like I feel like an absolute disgrace. but it's one of those things. So I've literally got a 30-pack of cans and they just go in the fridge the day before. I have a Coke at breakfast. It feels really bad.
So it doesn't matter. There's no better carbs in this situation. It's just whatever you can get in.
The better carbs are the ones that you can get in and hold down and that can be absorbed.
Yeah. I'm no expert here, Finn, but when you talk about like your blood sugar spiking and things like that, when I hear that, I think of a long-term thing where people become addicted to sugar and then it spikes and then it drops and they want to have more and stuff. But we're doing this. There's a purpose behind consuming all of this, right? We're not too worried about like crashing later or needing something more or getting addicted to sugar and stuff. It's more just like we want to have X amount of carbohydrates into the system, stored into the glycogen cells. That's not right. Stored as glycogen so that the next day it's there to access and we can just go on and use, right?
Yeah.
So, I think I'm no expert. That's what I think.
Cool. Yeah, it's. I'm sure it's a very complex topic, but
it might be something that where I get some like I don't know. I don't think Taryn would do this, Daniel, but someone like Taryn that might be able to come and give us a little bit more of the science behind it and understand it. But I think we're covering.
I'll hit her up. You might. I'll hit her up.
Yeah. It might be good. She might actually end up. Yeah, you never know, getting clients through this, whatever. Liam, go.
I was just going to say, I do think you do need to have at least a decent portion of yours with complex. Like, we do want to get as much, but I would say going like 900 of just pure lollies is probably not ideal. But to feel like half, and when you've got people like Daniel who have to hit 900, it's fine to use heaps of simple, but you still probably do want some complex in there.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty important to say.
Agreed. Yeah.
So I agree as well. I found, I don't know about you guys, but like I I know what I like to eat, and I pretty much eat the same thing every day. Like I
Yep.
eat dog food. So usually when I introduce things that I know I don't like, or not that I don't like, that doesn't necessarily agree with me, usually like if I eat a large portion of it, I tend to get the shits like about a day later. So at least for my half marathon, I mean, it wasn't as big as a carb load as this. It was a mixture of them. So like for each person their own. But I'm a dog man. I eat the same food every day, so I just you got to balance it for yourself.
And this comes back to what Daniel said before about like practicing, because if you know what works and you've got like let's say you've done like a 5-hour session where you've practiced carb loading before, it doesn't matter what the foods are. And like you say, stick to what you know. But if you don't practice carb loading right before the race, and then you get there and then you're like, oh shit, now I have to have 900 grams of carbs tomorrow, and then you're looking for all these different things and you haven't tested it, yeah, you're gonna get the shits, man, 100%. So practicing it is really important, but absolutely, if you've got a routine and you know the foods that you have, stick to those foods, man. 100%. Yeah. Cool. I'm going to quickly share my screen. Actually, I'll ask you first. Like, how do we track this? Like, okay, my number was 900 on the Friday that I had to have before Busso. How would we track 900 grams of carbs?
Mr. Crow, coming from someone who did weightlifting for a long time and tracking calories, I must say, I have heard you. You told me that you took a photo with ChatGPT and then used that, which is not bad. But there's an app. The most common one is MyFitnessPal. It gives you it's free. I'm pretty sure you do have to pay a price for macro tracking, but man, it's the most accurate shit you've ever seen. Like I got a scale at home, and like you do it, and it scans the barcode, and it knows everything to the gram. MyFitnessPal was my go-to.
Sorry to interrupt. You can just take a photo of, let's say you've created a meal. It's a bagel with honey, and
you know what?
Photo of it, and then it just adds up into okay.
If you don't want to pay MyFitnessPal, there's another app at the moment called Chronometer. I'll literally show you it right now, and I'll use this beautiful Rockaby. You know, if I ever make it on social media, these are the first fuckers I need to get sponsored by. These guys are so good.
I want to stop you here because I completely agree that if you've got a barcode or if you've got a product that says the amount of carbohydrates in it, easy. You just look at it, you add it to your tally, and you keep track of it, right? And if you're using MyFitnessPal, that's great. What happens now, though, if you go out to a restaurant? I think Daniel likes to go to have his pizza on the 2 days before, whatever. You go to this restaurant, you can't scan a barcode. What do you do then?
So there's two methods. Now, MyFitnessPal can do this thing where you can take a photo of it, and then using generative AI, it can therefore deduce what it is and then give you a brief account of how many calories in it, just like ChatGPT might. In terms of accuracy, I personally don't trust it amazing. Fortunately, I was counting calories for a very long time, so I have a very good understanding of how many calories are in estimates, carbs, proteins, and all these types of things. But like, if you don't want to pay for anything, the ChatGPT method is like perfect.
Yep. All right, Daniel, how do you do it?
Yeah, I'm MyFitnessPal, and the same thing. I've spent periods where I track what I'm having for 2 weeks all the time, and when I'm eating out, I'll do a little bit of guesstimation. And it takes time to get used to. You'll be like, you put this much meat in there, and then you put like 10 different ingredients in, and it's still just a fairly good guess. So with the pizza, the pizza is going to be around this, give or take 50 grams of carbs. No, if I hit 10 grams of carbs per lead mass or 11 or 12, it's still going to be absolutely fine.
Yep, I agree. I think it's important that a good guess is better than just not tracking, essentially, right? And that's my method is with the ChatGPT. Now, Kate, I can feel you sort of calling me out here because I've done the race day with him and I've shown him how I did my Marbella tracking. I'm going to show you guys, and please check out MyFitnessPal. I'll go and look at it as well. And if it's a better system than this, I'll be moving over. But I'm going to show you my sort of analog way of tracking this because it worked for me.
Do you know what? I'm gonna send a message to this chat because if you don't want to pay, there's an app at the moment called Chronometer that it's free and it hasn't like given me any issues, and it's the same thing except it doesn't do the photo thing. So if you want to do the photo on ChatGPT, then like punch it in. That's what I use at the moment.
I'll test out the MyFitnessPal, even if it's paid. I'll check it out. And if it's a better method,
it's so good. It's
I
just
love-
It is good, yeah.
yeah.
Like
sweet.
I'll preload even in the day before. I'll go,
Mm.
this is what I plan to have in certain times. And I go, yep, I've got everything I need to have that. And then I go, actually, I didn't have that. And I take it off and I sub things in.
Okay.
So
All right,
I don't just go, so that way I don't go out blindly and go, this is what I need to have for the day.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're, I know I'm taking time, I'll be so quick. If you if you're like me and you're a dog, you just eat the same thing. You can literally create a meal plan, and you can say, "Oh, this is my breakfast," and then you can import it straight into your breakfast, and it'll have everything there set ready.
Okay. Good. I like it.
I do that too. Yeah, you're right. I do that too.
Nice. Well, for those that want to do it full analog like I have, here is essentially what I did exactly for Marbella. I literally, on the Friday, I would write Friday, and then I would have, it was May's birthday in the morning, so we did cakes and fruit in the morning. I would send a photo to ChatGPT, and it would estimate out the amount of carbs. That the carbs are in brackets, and then each one is here, and then the aggregate is here. So I would literally go honey sandwich, banana, chips, and I'll just add what I've had, and then the number of carbs, and then the aggregate number, and just work up to the number that I need to get to, which was 870. Done. Same thing for Saturday. Just literally do the exact same thing and just build it up. So, and look at some of the shit we're having here: Pringles, lollies, chocolate, Oreo, sports drink. Oh, type 3 diabetes at its best. Oh, anyway, that's the carb load. Please fill your glycogen up for race day, guys, because it will make a huge difference. I promise you. I think that's all I've got on the run sheet today. Any other questions for race week?
So what's the celebration ideas, honestly?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's my first plan was to stop my watch right in front of my face so none of the cameras can get me. That was the first idea.
I don't know,
Honestly.
But shaving cream and spray it all over yourself and recreate the photo that we've got in that on the finish line.
That shit was so annoying. It took me so long. I got a decent bit of arm hair. I had to there were 3 runs of that.
Hang on. Are you using like an analog razor manually?
Yeah, my first time I did
Get
that.
an electric razor.
I know.
It's so much easier.
I've got shaver
I
shop
can't
in my
believe anyone would go
calendar.
full body. Oh no.
It's for the content. It's for the content.
Okay.
Just for Daniel
the content.
and Shade.
Okay, I missed.
Just for Daniel and Shade, this is the photo that we're referring to here.
I was in
man.
right speedos.
All right. Anything else, guys? I'm gonna stop the recording. We good?